Good evening, fellow armchair Imagineers. It's your good pal Slappy here to talk about my new movie, Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween. And I'm here with SandyClaws. Now, Sandy, I hear you didn't like my movie. Bad boy, Sandy.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
All right. In all seriousness, Tiki here along with Sandy Claus.
Howdy.
We did a podcast on Sandy's channel on the Youch Films podcast, a little side podcast there, about our top 5 favorite Goosebumps episodes. And now this is kind of a crossover event, Sandy. This is like our first ever crossover.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Like, why is it taking us this long to be like, hey, we should do something on your channel and then something on my channel and sync it together?
Yeah, we should do that more often, I guess, huh?
We should. We should. All right. So, Sandy, of course, you've had the pleasure to talk to a few people in the Goosebumps community. Of course, Tim Jacobus, the artist, Avery Jones, the puppeteer for Slappy in both movies, Neil Crone, who's done some work on the Goosebumps TV show. I'm sure I'm missing people.
Just Jack Lenz. That's it. You covered everyone else.
Jack Lenz, right, the music guy, for sure.
Yeah.
So, Goosebumps is kind of a franchise you're sort of inadvertently very invested in through your podcast work.
Well, yeah, really, yeah. It all that all sort of happened at once. Just that whole inviting people on from the Goosebumps community, I guess, because
And of course, you've toured the Goosebumps studio as well.
yeah, I did do that. Yeah, I did do that in May. Very fun.
And
very exciting.
And of course, we should give a shout out to Bjorn, who's one of your friends.
Oh yeah, close friend of mine.
Yeah, close friend of yours. I'm excited to meet him potentially for a meetup that we're doing.
Yeah,
next
that
year.
would be a lot of fun if he can make it. I think
Crossing my fingers.
He was he was supposed to come this October, but that never ended up coming to materialization.
Yeah. So I feel like Bjorn is a good place to start with this movie because I feel like this movie failed him, Sandy. Would you like to explain why?
Well, here's the thing. He messaged me after the movie, so we were talking about it. He told me this is like the 9th, October 9th. He messaged me and told me, he liked the movie, but it could have done better. I think they missed some opportunities, things like that. And I said, oh, okay, I'll have to just go out and check it for myself. So I went on October 10th. They had a pre-screening at AMC. I went and saw it. Is there a feedback coming back? I think I'm hearing something. No?
I'm not hearing anything on my end.
No? Okay. Just want to make sure. Anyways, I went and saw the movie for myself, and it's good. I like it a lot. It's definitely entertaining. I feel the way I feel about this movie, the way I felt about Venom. I've only seen this movie once. I've seen Venom twice now. But with both movies, I feel like it's kind of, just a popcorn flick. Just go and enjoy it. You're not really supposed to think too hard about it. Of course, it's because it's Goosebumps. You're really not supposed to think of how how all these things are supposed to work. It's monsters coming to life. It's nothing you should really be giving too much investment into. But for hardcore Goosebumps fans like Bjorn, I think
yes,
that's where we should really start, because personally, I am not a hardcore Goosebumps fan. If I am, the main roots of my love for Goosebumps go back to the TV show and the books. I think is where most people's really where their
you see that's where I can relate more to Bjorn on that level, because my love comes from the books more than the TV show.
Yeah, because the TV show and the books were the first things I was exposed to. The TV show definitely has a lot more of I guess the images in my head they've stuck with me over the years a lot more than the material has from the books. Of course, the art is never going to leave, but that's just some great stuff there. But the movies are a completely different monster. No pun intended. um, I really like
Would
the
you say
movies.
they're monsters after dark?
Right, right, is that a Guardians reference?
Yes.
um, uh, yeah. Where was I? Yeah, so I like the movies. I like the first one. The Rob Letterman did a really great job of giving the first Goosebumps movie a really great Amblin vintage tone, which is something that I've talked about before. I think on the when back when we did the podcast a couple years
Uh-huh.
ago. Um, but yeah, this one doesn't really strike that same type of vintage quality. This one is very very slappy heavy. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, I do like what they did with Slappy in this one, where they made him just a little bit more vulnerable than he was in the first one. You see him getting kicked around quite a few times. He gets launched off the windshield of a car. Madison Eisman's character kicks him into a giant bolt of electricity at the very end. Spoilers. Um, so he's not just this all powerful being like he was in the first movie. If you remember, he was pretty slick in the first one, outsmarting everyone. But I feel, um, if you want to get into the story, if you want to
Well, to put it
just
simply, Sandy, I was loving Slappy in the first act. Like,
me
I
too.
thought that the puppetry work was really on point. Of course, props to Avery there.
Mhm.
Just the amount of physical puppetry in this movie is very impressive, I think.
It is, and the costumes themselves are very impressive. They had a lot of they did not shy away from having, practical costumes, people dressed up as these Halloween
Uh-huh.
decorations, which I loved. Um, they
To tell you the truth, Sandy, I could have had more of the movie just being Slappy messing with this family.
Yeah, and that's
I
really
was
the first
loving that
act.
stuff. Like all the stuff with Slappy messing with the family in the first act, I was just like, I was on board for. To me, it was the most likable I've ever seen Slappy, honestly.
Yeah, that's because in the first act they kept him incredibly close to the material from the books, um,
Uh,
where he's
it felt like a pseudo Night of the Living Dummy remake, but
yeah,
done in a new way.
yeah, exactly. Um, where was I going with this? Anyways, so I feel for people who are really looking for a really solid follow up to the first movie, which um I think I think would be I think it'd be doable, making a solid remake. I mean, not a remake, a solid sequel. But given the fact that I've just gotten the impression Sony really does not care a whole lot for this franchise, which is very, very unfortunate. I did not think that we were going to be getting a movie that was going to be better than the first one. Again, that's
And we
really
certainly
unfortunate.
didn't.
We didn't. That's incredibly unfortunate. Um, it's it's not the director's fault. It's from my own personal knowledge of the situation. It just seems more like it's on the studio's side, where because I heard they had a few scripts floating around. They had at least two different scripts floating around,
Well, I
and it
remember there
seems
was
like
the Horrorland one that was floating around.
there was, and I
That's the
don't.
one I really wanted them to make.
Yeah, me too. 'Cause they were really. I think the rumor was going around that if the Emoji Movie did really well, they'd have more money
Oh,
to make this one better. But of course, as
oh
we all
God,
know, the
help
Emoji
us.
Movie blew.
Uh,
Um, so they didn't have have what had what like 35 million to make this one. They had 58 million to make the first. It's a pretty significant difference. And they obviously did not have the budget to just make Horrorland a possibility. This the movie feels like it didn't make it past, the first or second draft.
You know what it feels like? It feels like an old school, like early 2000s Nickelodeon live action movie.
That's what everyone's saying, and that's exactly what Bjorn told me when he saw the trailer and he sent it to me. He said this looks like a Disney movie, like a
Uh-huh.
TV Disney movie. Um, and yeah, I mean the trailers definitely projected it that way, and I mean the movie
The
did as
advertising
well.
didn't do this movie any favors, that's for
The
sure.
advertising in this movie was not good. No, uh,
Yeah.
the fact that this movie came out about the exact time The House with the Clock on Its Walls did not help it at all. Because Jack Black's of course in both. Fun fact here: they wrote Jack Black in this movie at the last second. That's why he's in so little of it.
It kind of
Literally, like,
shows. It kind of shows.
yeah, as they were filming, they literally wrote him into the scripts and said, "Yeah, come on." um, but
All right, well, Sandy, we really need to start getting into some of the negative qualities with this film because there are a bunch.
there are an abundance of negative qualities, without a doubt. Yeah, yeah. I think
And
everyone gets the
frankly, we've
point.
only got about like another 15 minutes, so
Yeah, yeah. Let's go. Let's
it's
go.
funny here. Okay, so so many missed opportunities, man.
There are a lot of missed opportunities. Yeah. hmm
I would say the biggest offender is what they do with the haunted mask.
You mean the lack of the haunted mask?
Well, I mean the fact that literally they have a device that looks like the haunted mask,
Yes.
that acts like the haunted mask, where it's a mask that gets sealed onto your face and turns you into a monster.
Yes.
It's Igor.
Yes.
It's that to me is unacceptable.
Yes. Yes to everything you're saying, essentially. There are an abundance of missed opportunities in this movie. I'm not sure. It seems like Ari Sandel knew the source material. I'm not sure why he made or why. I guess I shouldn't say Ari Sandel. I should say the writer because it's really the writer is the one who put this movie
I mean,
together.
why didn't we get more than like brief shots of the pumpkin heads?
um, I'm just going to jump back to what you were saying about the haunted mask quickly. Um,
Okay.
yes, the ogre should have been the haunted mask. There's no reason why it shouldn't. Well, there is no reason why this character should be an ogre. It doesn't really serve him being an ogre doesn't really serve any kind of purpose to the plot. Um, I think I'm not completely against the choice of design of monster design in this movie at all. Um, I do wish they would have had some more original
I like the
Goosebumps
witches
monsters in it,
without the
but
faces. I thought that was a creepy touch.
the what?
The witches without the faces.
Yeah, those were interesting. Those were interesting,
Uh-huh.
actually. I'm curious to know where that kind of inspiration of that glowing ball with the clouds in it. I want to know where that came from. Um,
And
uh,
then they have Not the Werewolf of Fever Swamp and Not the Abominable Snowman of Pasadena.
yeah, I'm not sure what was up with those because we don't see them at all. We only see them in the grocery store, and then I think we see the abominable snowman later on, but we never see the werewolf after the grocery store. So I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I think it's just to sell tickets. I think. Um, um, is there anything else you'd like to say about the monsters in the movie?
No, I just thought the monsters, like, even based on a generic premise, like, okay, it's Halloween cliches and traditions coming to life. I felt even in that vein, it was a missed opportunity. Like, even outside of the goosebumps of it all.
Yeah. I feel you're right. I feel you're right, and the fact that this whole movie just kind of takes place on one street, it just it feels very narrowed down, very small.
It lacks the adventure of Halloween.
Yeah, and it lacks the adventure of the
Like,
first
you
film
watch
too, because
something
if you
like
remember
the
that.
original Haunted Mask, and the original Haunted Mask, like, you feel like you've traveled miles with Carly Beth and that mask. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Even in the TV show, you feel like you've gone everywhere, um,
Uh-huh.
to some degree. But there, definitely were an abundance of missed opportunities. I think that the
I
biggest
like the spider balloon monster.
that was interesting. Yeah, that was very interesting. Um,
I like the gummy bears. I thought that was probably the best sequence in the whole movie, and of course they blew it in the trailer.
yeah, the gummy bears
But
were in
wouldn't you
one
agree the gummy
scene.
bears were like a genuinely well done sequence, though?
That was a well done sequence. I'm not gonna lie, that was. And what I like the gnomes better than the gummy bears just because of the effects they
Uh-huh.
did with the gnomes with
I just love the like the blob effect on the gummy bears, though. It was so much fun.
it was a lot of fun. I like the gnomes better than the gummy bears, but I like the gummy bears better than the gnomes simply because they get less screen time. Um,
Uh-huh.
the gnomes got so much screen time in the first film, more than I think what they needed. The gummy bears were in and they were out, and that was it. You saw them for
Right,
one
right.
scene, and that was it, and that was all you needed. It's perfect. Um, I feel I'm just gonna say
Okay,
the
you know what
biggest
I didn't like about this movie? Probably the single biggest insulting thing about this movie that I'm surprised Bjorn isn't more insulted by.
what.
Ken Jeong. I mean, this guy is a train wreck of a character, man.
Oh boy, you're really you're being really brutal here. Explain though. Explain.
I just think it's so insulting that basically, like, the avatar for the fan base, the cameo that should have been Bjorn's cameo, went to Ken Jeong, and he was like, "Oh, I love Goosebumps. Oh, what is this monster blood? No, too obvious, too obvious." I'm just like, "Oh God, shut up! Like, we're friends with hardcore Goosebumps fans, and they're way cooler than you are, Ken Jeong."
Uh, um, I think you're right
I
because
don't know, man. There was just something about it. I felt like they were talking down to Goosebumps fans with him.
you know I need to go see the movie again and really decide for myself. But
By the way, what is his name? Mr. Fee or something like that?
Mr. What's it? And the Hangover was Mr. Chow, I think wasn't it? Or
In
it
The
was Mr. Chu
Hangover,
in
it
this
was
one.
Chow. Yeah.
Mr. It was Mr. Chu because
Oh,
they said
Mr. Chew. Oh my
yeah.
God, that's so dumb. Mr. Frickin' Chew. Oh God.
Cause, yeah, because they made it specifically it's a Hangover reference for one reason or
Ha
another.
ha ha.
Um,
um. Go
I
ahead.
I'm just gonna what I was trying to say before is the biggest missed opportunity, one of them at least, uh, um, is the fact that they had the perfect tool for Curly the skeleton, the original Goosebumps mascot, to be in this movie, and they completely wasted it. You see so many skeleton Halloween decorations running around. They had the Goosebumps display in the store. It would have been so easy to have a Curly decoration in the store that comes to
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
That would have been so easy to do. Just take one of the skeletons, slap a flat top on it,
That's
and
why
some
this
glasses.
movie, it's very evident that this movie wasn't made by fans or for fans.
I I think you're right. I think you're right. Um, I what it all comes down to is it was made in a hurry. It was made in a really,
Okay, can
really
we also talk about some of the, like, a couple other problematic characters?
sure, sure.
Okay, what's up with the jerk boyfriend character? Like, did we really need to have that drama?
I uh
Sandy, when I think Goosebumps, Sandy, oh boy, I think teens hanging out at nightclubs.
yeah, that really that took me out of it quite a bit as well.
I was just like, first of all, I go to nightclubs, and these kids are not old enough to be in these nightclubs.
First, we're getting all this, fantasy stuff with a talking dummy, and then we're in a nightclub. I it's kind of a weird switch
I
there.
mean, I know I'm harping on about this, but trust me, in the movie, it feels very out of place.
It does feel out of
Um,
place. Reflecting back on it,
Also,
it does feel out of place.
yeah.
I don't think
So
I
the bully in this movie is so, like, the writing on the bully is so terrible.
Oh boy, I think we can all agree that the writing in this film could have been written a lot better than it was. Um, the boyfriend did not need to be there. You never see him
No, the
again.
boyfriend was a waste of screen time. He really was.
It was, it was the screen time with the boyfriend should have we should have spent that time developing the main two kids a little bit more, uh,
Or more slappy,
or more slappy.
just
I guess
messing with the family.
yeah, yeah. I
With
think
the
there.
two kids, I thought that the whole side plot with like the Junk Brothers thing, I mean, I thought that was super rushed and super forced and like we already established, it felt like something out of a Nickelodeon movie.
Um, so I here's the thing. I went and I got the movie novel after it came out because these things didn't come out in Australia. I don't come out in Australia. They're, for another what, like month or something like that. So Bjorn wanted me to go and pick one up for him. I went and bought one. I brought it
Okay.
home. I read it for myself, and then I packed it up and I sent it to him. I read the book, and this thing discusses it's the entire plot in the movie here, and I thought, okay, I reading all about the Junk Brothers thing. Okay, this could work. This could work. Um, it read a lot like one of the original Night of the Living Dummy books, but it was extremely rushed in the movie. There are a lot of things that are picked up
Yeah.
and never mentioned again, including the boyfriend. Never mentioned again. Never see him again. He's in the hospital now. In the trailer, you actually see Madison Iseman talking to this boyfriend character. He's got a broken arm. They're having some kind of conversation. Um, so there obviously was a deleted scene with him. I'm guessing they cut it for time, but a lot of stuff picked up in this movie that never really, you know, grounded well. Um, man, I'm sorry. I really hate ratting on Goosebumps so harshly. It's just
Okay, you know what we're gonna do,
something I gotta be
Sandy?
honest
You know
about.
what we're gonna do?
What?
We're gonna end it kind of compliment sandwich style. We got about 5 minutes. Let's say some more good things about it.
Okay, sounds good. Um, for when I heard of that Ari Sandel was doing this movie, I had no idea who he was. I don't think anybody did. He's only done like two other features, maybe two, maybe three other features. He's never done a film like this before, at least not a feature film. And I think he really nailed it for his first big fantasy um, feature film. Uh, I think obviously the writing was not great, but I think he really nailed it as a director, getting certain aspects down. I think color plays a lot into a movie. Color plays a lot into a movie, and for me at least. And I think most of the colors really work well. The music was good. It was good. Um, Obviously, Avery's performance with Slappy and the other extras playing the monsters and the Halloween decorations, they all did a good job. There's a lot of great
I
character
want to give a
design.
shout out to the actress playing the mother. I don't know her. I don't know the name of the actress, but I do know her from the Goldberg. She plays the mother on the Goldbergs, and she's a
Mm,
lot of fun. She plays Beverly Goldberg,
okay.
and uh, yeah, so she was a pleasant surprise for me in this movie, just because I know who she is, and she very much stuck to her acting style.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people saying that she was one of like one of, if not the best character in the entire film aside from Slappy.
Oh, I would agree with that. I think she did have the best performance in the film.
Yeah, yeah. Um, as I was saying, great character design. I like the bit with the pumpkins. That was cute. Of course, Slappy is as I said before, Slappy is a huge part of the movie, and they really delivered well. Mick Wingert voicing Slappy sounds identical to Jack Black. Everyone's saying Jack Black voices Slappy in this movie. It's not Jack Black. It's a guy. It's a guy.
Let's end on Jack Black though, because it's kind of the
Yeah.
end of the podcast. If you're listening at this point, you've probably seen the movie. If not, I'd say spoiler alert. But Jack Black does come back for a brief cameo.
Mm.
I gotta say, it's a lot of fun. Like I feel like they gave him just enough screen time to not to feel warranted.
Yeah, I think so. And of course, they have that twist at the end that sets up for a third movie, hopefully, which they'll make. I'm guessing they probably will. I mean, this the movie's doing the movie's going to make its budget back without a doubt. So hopefully they'll make a third one. Um, yeah, Jack Black, like you said, he comes back right at the end. Uh, he's there.
Shows
He's
up with
there.
his typewriter. He's like, "I'm here to save the day. I'm here to write. I know it sounds crazy, but I've done it at least once before."
Maybe two, maybe three times. I'm curious to know what that third time was or that fourth time was. It's curious.
And of course, Sandy, you know I love the Pennywise reference. He just sees a balloon over a sewer grate, and he's like, you see, I knew that I invented that before, King."
I forgot about that. That was smart. That was very smart.
That was easily the biggest laugh in the whole movie.
Oh boy.
And just Jack Black in general is a lot of fun as Arlstein. I wish he was in more of the movie, but I really need to see House with a Clock in its walls.
Yeah, I may or may not go get around to seeing that. I think I'm just gonna stick to seeing Goosebumps 2 this time around, just so you know, every penny helps. I still need to see it again. I might see it a third time. I'm not sure, but yeah, I may or may not see House of the Clock in its walls. I've already seen Venom twice and Goosebumps once, so it's been to the movies more in the month of October than I have in the whole year. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, Sandy. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I will go ahead and link the discussion that you and I had on the top 5 Goosebumps episodes on your channel. If you'll be so kind as to link this discussion on that video as well, and we can get some crossover action going on.
Yeah, be happy to.
All right. And in the meantime, have a haunted Halloween, everyone.